Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We got game number 4 of the grand finals here at the Paradise League HoN Amateur Tournament. And it's been a good series as we hoped for and expected. This best out of 5, these two teams competing yesterday, finishing in the top 2 spots of the 7 teams total to earn the chance to compete for this $500 prize pool. And now New Generation, who currently is on the Hellborn team this game, is on the verge of doing that. And they, as far as winning it all, they are 2-1 in the series, and I got the momentum, the 2 games in a row, but hard to communicate. Going to do their best to stop that for now and force that 5th and final game. There we go. There's a storyline. I'm Breaking CBK, joined by What You Got once again. I mentioned Kraken ban is the biggest thing I'm going to be looking for off the bat, and the very first ban is Kraken, so they agree.
You called it. Let's go. I think it's a pretty understandable ban coming out here for Game 4. I mean, Games 2 and 3, the Cyril just had crazy impact. And I keep telling you to look at the release of Kraken on your screen. So now I can stop saying that for a game, at least. And we won't have to see the Kraken here. So already, post-banning phase, we're seeing all of the first 3 picks are defensive supports. Yay! First picked invented Shaman, and then Monarch and a Pearl being picked up by the Hellborn side. So, I mean, it's been working for them the last few matches. They're going to just keep sticking to it, and then we're going to see Empath into Cthulhu font. So that is a little different from what we've seen thus far this series. But the Shaman specifically pairs very nicely with the Cthulhu font if they want to lane those heroes together and cause some kind of mayhem on the map.
Yeah, Cthulhu font's been through so many iterations, I feel like, over time from the initial release way back in the day. But
which ones do you like the best? Oh, sorry.
Well, no, I don't see. I say that, but like I remember, like the original one had like the shield, right? Like you eat a creep and
jungle Cthulhu font, eat a creep. Yeah.
And you could. I'm trying to remember what his ultimate was, though. Was it
obliterate? It was his second spell.
It was obliterate. Yeah. It's the wave of damage. Yeah. Anyways, point is the current version, I will say, is pretty good in mid wars. Not that that matters here, but I've been playing that a little bit lately myself, but I am intrigued to see it in a FoC Calibar game. And you mentioned already the Demented Shaman synergy with a trample heal bomb combo, so that could be pretty good. Is this a hero that has made appearances? Would you say like in tournament play, or is this really another one of these?
If you follow B-Pro specifically, they're like the team that picks Cthulhu the most, I would say. But other than that, I don't really think any of the other teams in Pro League pick Cthulhu font that much. He's kind of like a hit or miss hero. Sometimes he works really well, and sometimes he's just kind of there. Like he's like just he can get like an item. Yeah, I mean he's really good in laning phase, and then he kind of like falls off a little bit in like the like post laning phase, mid stage. Kind of due to like the nature of his spells, and even if you pick up like an early portal key, it's not like it doesn't feel like overwhelming like to play against a Cthulhu PK. But when he gets like more farmed, like with like Staff of the Master given to him or picked up himself and like a barbed armor, like in like more of the like mid to late game, he's like really annoying to face because then you get forced to attack him, and the fear lasts for like 3 seconds in late game. So yeah, then he's really annoying. But I think his like phases are laning phase and then like more geared to like mid to late game. So he has that like gap where he's like not that like annoying or threatening.
I'm really kind of looking over his spells again. The Maddening Revenge is interesting, that third ability of his, and honestly against that Pearl Monarch initially, the anti-heal seems like it could have some use for sure, but whatever. We have a lot more to talk about. Holy crap, they're flying through now. Sapphire Jereziah, that's fun to see. Let's talk about another hero that got some a bit of a rework even to an extent with that patch, and then Sandwraith Thunderbringer on the other side. It's a good old global, and then Apex. Whoa. All right, where do we start here?
I'm just gonna start by saying, whoa! I have no idea. I mean, I guess we could talk about Legion's lineup first. They pick up a Thunderbringer Sandwraith, like you said. Like I haven't seen either of these heroes in so long. I have to like think back to when was the last time I saw either of them picked up. Obviously, they have good synergy together, but Thunderbringer is, you know, he's really strong when he gets to the Grimoire, plus like one other item like Spell Shard, Spell Sunder, whatever have you. He deals tons of damage. I'm sure, you know, as long as he doesn't have like an awful early game, I'm sure we'll see if we look at the damage charts. Thunderbringer will be always at the top this game. So this hero can always output lots of damage, but the problem is getting there. If he has a bad laning phase, he kind of gets stuck in this loop of like just getting caught and dying. I don't know if that'll necessarily be the case this game because they don't have like the most aggressive makeup on Hellborn. It's mostly defensive heroes for the time being, so it might end up being a pretty good pick if they can get out of laning stage. But the Sandwraith as well, like we don't see this hero played carry nowadays, mostly because of like the threat of facing like tri-lanes. The hero doesn't really lane 1v1 all that well, can't really lane against aggressive dual lanes or even tri-lanes, so he's just really hard to make work. But you know, obviously when he gets out of that stage of the game, he has global presence. He can always TP and gank with, you know, the Cthulhu font this game or the Thunderbringer if he gets somebody kind of low. So he's always going to be a presence around the map, but he has to not, you know, suffer early game for that to happen. So there are a lot of weaknesses to running both a Thunderbringer and a Sandwraith in this current metagame, which is why we don't really see them picked up that much. And then if we look at Hellborn's lineup, they are doing exactly what you don't want to see as a Sandwraith, which is run an aggressive tri-lane. They have two strong supports and a Sapphire, who could very well just go to her own side of the map, similar to the Hammerstorm we saw last game, play the same exact style and just clear the stacks and skyrocket GPM to 600 really fast. But this is the correct way, I would say, to play this one, is to just make pressure with him and not let the Sandwraith farm. So they have that option here to run the tri-lane. And then picking up both an Apex and a Jerizaya will make their team fights, I would say, pretty strong overall. But they will be pretty reliant on their ultimates, I would say, to team fight. Without those, they're really long cooldowns on both the Apex and the Jerizaya in early game. They're going to be mostly looking to just farm up, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Apex is still a hero. I just really don't know much yet. I don't see him a whole lot. I mean, with the matches I have been watching, and frankly in my games either, so...
You mean like what his impact will be, or like what the hero is,
how the
like,
hero
how
will even play? Is it kind of like a tanky, like...
So he's like a pretty good laner in the sense that like he has multiple escapes. His strength, he can sustain himself with his channeling spell, the Burning Ember. So he's gonna have a pretty good laning phase, I would say, here against the Thunderbringer, because Thunderbringer can't really kick him out of lane that easily. And his damage is tied to his third spell, which is what puts the dot damage on everyone that he hits with some ability, whether he hits them with the Fire Surge or he jumps on them with the Decimate. And then once you do that and apply the dot, then you want to hit the Armageddon, and it amplifies the stun that you're doing when you hit the AoE. So if you don't apply the dot damage first, the stun will only do the 0.5 second stun, which is basically nothing. So you always want to apply the Burning Ember and then hit your Armageddon onto all your targets. Which is kind of what makes the hero a little bit awkward, is that you have to get in range and apply the DOT first.
There's a little bit of setup required before he really gets...
yeah, so a lot of the times you see items like Dreamcatcher or Soul Trap, put the debuff on first, apply the dot, or Arcane Bomb is like a more of a supportive one. Hold the thought. Yeah. Action Bottom could be the Bloodlust.
Sapphire is dead. The defensive support's not enough to save him. They try. They sure did. The Crystal's even coming out, but not enough. Paulin on Empath. Not in tower range, though, so Empath should be fine. And now Pearl's one has to be a little careful. Taking the stun there. Hide behind the tree, though. And the TP back in with Sapphire, so the clashing continues. Demented Shaman.
Use the apple.
Managed to stay alive for a little bit longer. The apple, as mentioned, saving his life for now. Sandwraith, though, they got to get him out of here, though, and he will do just that by Popping up the sand and running on out. So that's, I can't believe nobody else died. I mean, hell, Monarch's almost dead again, but...
It's like a double creep wave, but yeah. Both the supports are low on life. You know what I do think about in the drafting stage that I just thought of now, which is really cool, actually. Mostly because I haven't seen Newerth in so long, is he can pop the Sandstalkers, and then to manage Shaman, like once Newerth throws the slow and the illusions auto-target the player that's targeted by the Desert's Curse, the managed Shaman can just throw out Heal Bomb, and that is massive damage when it hits multiple illusions. True. So I think that came into play for the Bloodlust, because I caught that at the very end, actually.
I'm sure it did, yeah. Dimension Shaman's been down here at the bottom lane for a little bit now. He obviously was up at the beginning, very beginning, before they really knew how the lanes were going to shape up. And he's sitting at bottom, though, and it's proven to be the good decision. How is Cthulhuphon doing? What are we up here? Seems like Cthulhuphon's having a pretty good time up here. Yeah, he's definitely winning this lane against Jeremiah. 25-4 versus 17-1 right now.
Yeah, I didn't actually pay attention to when the support rotated out of top, but I would imagine they gave an advantage to the Cthulhu early. Apex actually rotates top. This is a really early rotation. Doesn't even have Armageddon. He gets stunned up in the tower. This might be a kill, though. Actually, the DOT is ticking down. One more hit. Gets it. Makes it work, actually. I wasn't expecting that rotation to actually net him a kill, but...
Well, he was one creep kill. Oh, by the way, that was a big ultimate for Thunder. Almost got the kill in Apex, but it is not enough. So no kills coming out from the first Thunderbringer ultimate. I gotta think he thought that he was maybe going to get one right there, but unable to do so. But I was going to say about Apex, he was a one creep kill from actually hitting level 6. I don't know if that was the intention that was roaming over there, that was going to happen, but either way, he still gets the kill. And
see his full life already? Just channeled, maxing out Burning Ember, channels it, heals himself up to full. He was sitting up there in the top river just channeling it. So he didn't have to go back to base or buy a health potion or anything like that. And now the Thunderbringer has to be so afraid, because if he steps like down the ramp here and into range of Apex, he can just jump on him and Armageddon him. But he's actually smoking top. He wants to use the ulti again on the Cthulhu. I guess they really want to... Really wants to shut this top lane down so Jeremiah can have a really good start. This is actually wild to me. He actually like perfectly avoids this smoke gank.
It's he's like moving around it, but it's just pure coincidence. He went over here and placed a ward. He picked up the rune. It's just like the timing was perfect by his movement there.
I am not sure if like the Thunderbringer saw this Veiled Rot in the inventory of Apex and maybe called it out. That's very possible, right? But I know they actually did the Veiled Rot from like the high ground in FoC, which shouldn't have been spotted. But either way, like that's good presence of mind. Maybe it was luck, maybe it was a good missing call, but yeah, he ends up getting the ward up there at a really like crucial time to go and do that. That's funny.
Jeremiah top lane? No, he's fine. They're just continuing to clash against one another up here. But the Elephant is just diving the tower. I mean, he is not afraid to take that tower damage for the time being. But he's, again, continuing to have a good time up there against the Jeremiah. But Jeremiah is not far behind. I will say Apex is the noticeable difference. Apex is having a 100+ GPM lead over the counterpart of Thunderbringer.
See how he's playing? He was literally almost in the tower. You could sense that he wants to go for that dive. Meanwhile, Thunderbringer ulti came out, almost killed the Jeremiah. Heals himself here. Obliterate's still going though. Tower now though. This could be the difference.
Oh no! Can he get away?
I think he's got him.
Get back here! Get back here, Elephant! Attack! Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, that sucks for Jonas. Jonas thought he had it for sure. Bottom lane action picks up against Newerth. Trying to get away, Sapphire running him down though with the supporting cast. A great bubble, and they do secure the kill on Newerth. They want more. They might get Demented Shaman too as a result. There's the cape. Big heal coming out of Monarch. It's turned actually, so the heal bomb doing some work, but Sapphire smashes in. Puts down the
mid lane Apex solo killed the Thunderbringer, so that was like waiting to happen. Apex?
Okay.
No, he couldn't jump away in time. He had Decimate, but the Obliterate damage was too much.
Oh, that's, yeah, the elephant. The elephant comes in and at least gets the immediate revenge. So it's going to be up to Cthulhu Fallen One. Oh, yeah, Fallen One's the one playing Cthulhu by the way. I just noticed that. So
Ricky, are you feeling this like animosity that I'm sensing between Elephant and Apex? There's some weird tension going on here. They're both like ganking each other so much. It feels almost like, you know.
Wait, did this character evolve? I didn't even.
What's this now?
The avatar of Cthulhu Vaughn. It was a plushie. It was like a green plushie in the beginning.
So the plushie and Misfit sets, if you own them both, I think they change day and night or something.
That's so cool.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure they like interchange. There's a lot of avatars in that set as well that also do the same thing. He has charm, right? But he might die to the tower.
He's gonna die? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Stunned by the Cthulhu font there, which he actually, I think he kicked the creep wave out of the tower range. So it forced the tower to only be able to hit the Jeremiah, and I don't think Jeremiah took that into account when he put himself in the tower range.
Smart. Thunderbringer rotated to the bottom lane.
2-minute Shaman. Cape breaks.
Red Shaman's trying to get away.
One more hit.
He's not going to do so, though.
Sapphire is hitting for 100 right now at max damage with the Ghost Marchers.
Oh, Apex shows up, has the ultimate, boom, goes off. Empath gets stunned in place, but
he's still alive.
Maybe a little too far. The dots on him.
Might die to the DOT. Another shard comes down.
Take him out. The shard's put down. Thunderbringer trying to keep his distance, unable to do so. Let's smash in once again from Sapphire. But speaking of smashing it, through the front shows up. The ultimate though from Sapphire, trying to get them away. Apex.
Oh, Apex is actually playing with fire here. He channeled the Burning Ember when he was already fine because the sleep came up from Sapphire.
Yeah, I thought something stunned him.
Don't tell me he actually dies here. I mean, he's making so much space. Goes for the TP out.
Lives.
He knew Cthulhu had stun on cooldown, so he was able to safely channel that TP.
Yeah.
And Shaman, without having boots, just cannot chase him. There's no way.
Quite the fighting at the bottom. I mean, Sapphire is starting to really make his presence felt. Another play on a Sand Wraith here, but no, just simply gonna harass him a little bit more.
Come on,
though. That's a big heal bomb on Monarch.
You see the damage on the Monarch?
Yep.
Deleted.
It melts him for sure. Sapphire should be fun. Never mind, actually. Wall comes out, so...
She doesn't have her crystallized ultimate now.
Sapphire did too. So Pearl got there way too late, and they tied up at 7 hero kills apiece, so kind of taking a step back, zooming out. I mean, overall, big picture, it's 7-7. Very even network here. And Apex is dead.
Actually, from the Thunderbringer was pretty key there, kept him in place. Hasted Cthulhu, though. I don't think he was really going to escape anyway.
Bottom. Bubbles up. Pearl, though, too much damage on him. Tries to get out. The Chrysalis also saves him, actually. So Samwraith going to be unable to finish the job there. Avoiding the shard. Demented Shaman. Trying to go left on the river, and that's probably...
He lives. No, he dies. That was so close, actually. I was almost certain that with the cape, he had enough time to channel TP. It was actually so close. $92 gold difference at 12 minutes.
Yeah.
This is about as even of an early game as you could get. I will say the GPM chart looks maybe slightly nicer for Hellborn. The top farmer is Cthulhu for Legion, but the supports have slightly more GPM than the Legion supports, or the Hellborn supports, sorry, have slightly more, but not by much. So it's pretty even looking when you look at the chart. And as expected, Thunderbringer, 15% hero damage. Top of the charts. No surprise there.
Yeah, it's he's a hero that you pretty much expect to see there, especially in the core role, every time throughout the gamma course, but...
Ward of Sight came down from Empath in the trees, so they know Jeremiah is here. He charges into the tower now.
Scott Soul's Blessing.
They have the numbers advantage here. Now they're split up. Sandwraith's stuck in the tower, and the supports had to fall back. But actually, nobody gets caught, and then they just fall back.
Well, I thought Apex was coming down as well. He smoked up from the river, but he ended up kind of just going toe-to-toe with the Thunderbringer, maybe trying to open on him, and nothing ever really happened, so... Yeah, very awkward moment right there.
I would like to say he pushed this mid tower. It's pretty low, and he can force rotations away from the bot lane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sandwraith counter Portson, but even with Empath here, is it enough? I don't know if it is, actually. No wall or link available anymore, but he's slowed. Toxin Claws. Oh, no. It's so close! Thunderbringer ulti even! Oh, but he missed! He missed!
Bought back!
He missed the Desert's Curse! That would have killed him!
Oh my gosh. That's gotta feel so crappy. A buyback used for that bottom lane, by the way. Pearl's barely alive. There's been so many close calls this game.
Oh, heal bomb on the creep wave.
The heal bomb, and it does get the kill.
Deleted.
And they're gonna get both.
And the Pearl. Demented Shaman power coming through.
I'm a
demented shaman, dirty demented shaman spammer. So every time I see a heal bomb do that, I get a little excited.
I still can't believe that. I mean, that is a early buyback to try to commit for that kill, and it doesn't even happen with the ultimate there. But either way, what happened happened. Apex stays alive. He's back in the mid lane, and he's going to push down this mid tower successfully.
I have definitely never in my life misclicked Sandwraith's Q on an enemy. Wink, wink. That's never happened to me.
No.
Actually, it's so unfortunate though, but these things happen, so can't really fault him per se. But yeah, it's sad. If you're Thunderbringer, I think you're almost more sad than if you're Sandwraith.
Yeah. Oh, Cthulhu bot though wants to keep the action going, but again, Apex, he's proving that he's way too slippery to feel like you could just commit on top of him and get a free kill. So he is fine. He did get that soul trap as you mentioned. On the
I'm gonna be interested in if he wants to upgrade that into a full Dreamcatcher, and based on the way he's playing this game, I don't see a reason not to. It's gonna tank him up some more, which is what he wants anyway. There we go. I think he right-clicked it. Actually, does he have the full Dreamcatcher? He must have it. Huge, actually, that he has a 15-minute Dreamcatcher. So it's gonna amp his damage a lot more as well. Gives him 300. I think it's 300 magic damage, right? Over 10 seconds. Reduces healing output from the Empath and the Shaman as well. Like, it's very, very good, this game.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you mentioned, the timing of it, too, feels very good for him. And Jeraziah, he is currently waiting towards a bottom rune spawn, it looks like. But with him protecting the Apex, that could be a deadly, deadly combo for sure. We can't forget about Sapphire as well, as the runes do come out. Cthulhu Fawn says hello to Apex, but once again, just simply walks away. But yeah, Sapphire is got the Mad Fred's brass knuckles and working towards his second item of choice in the early game at least. But they're all five going to group up here on the side of New Generation, try to make a play somewhere.
I'm a little surprised that the Sapphire maxed out Quick Shield. I mean, he was playing in the long lane with 2 defensive supports, so he wanted, I guess, to have another like defensive tool, but by doing this, you also lack more points of the charge to have this extra stun duration and damage. And now he's also sitting on level 2 shard, that's the spell you want to max out, so that what he's doing right now, going into the jungle and taking stacks, he can't do that as efficiently as if he had it leveled up. It is only 5% more damage, but you also get to hit the shard more times. So all in all, it ends up being like a slower farming speed. So I think the maxing the quick shield was not so bad for the lane per se, but I think I would have rather seen him put more points into his reckless charge and his unstable shard. I'm not sure how familiar you are with Sapphire, but
it's a little bit more. It's one of those heroes again, a little bit newer in comparison to all the other ones, of course, but. As top lane, by the way, Pearl, oh my god, is she actually going to get out again? God, these close calls, Sapphire. Meanwhile, with the ultimate to freeze him in place of the Crystallize. And there's the Shard, the bam on Demented Shaman. And no heal bomb's going to save him this time around, so...
He'll have enough
not only
for the
save
Shroud
Pearl,
now.
but the turn. And yeah, he is going to have the Shroud.
Yep, he's got it being sent out now. A little bit later than you would like, about an 18-minute Shroud. If you play Sapphire like short farm, you normally get this around 11 to 13 minutes, but he was long lane, so it makes sense that it came slower this game. And being 6'2" and 1, 450 GPM is not really a bad stat line, so it's more about like that he has a lot of build up. I would say he has investment on top of power supply bottle and knuckles, so he went for all the early combat items before finishing the shroud, which I would say is very good. And the trade-off is just getting the shroud a few minutes slower.
Yeah, cheers. Dealing with these illusions at the bottom lane, but as a team, they did the Ancients here on the Legion side. Everyone but Sandwraith at least, so kind of working together. Cthulhu Fawn does continue to be the top farm on his team, just over 400 gold per minute. I don't know if that's good or bad, though. Obviously, you want Sandwraith to certainly be up there, but he's making his way. He's got 356 GPM now. He's got his Thunderclaws, big farming item, and we are starting to see that acceleration. But it also does feel like that maybe hard to communicate is they need a bit more time until they're going to be a bit more comfortable in this game and how things are going right now.
I'm wondering if the Sandwraith will go for like a really greedy item route and go full Hyper Crown here. Which he might actually do because he's going up against like a multi-core Hellborn lineup. And he's kind of like the single core with, well, you know, Tibi's obviously a core, but he's not like this like big farming hero per se. So I think he has the space to go for a Hyper Crown this game, especially with having a Cthulhu Fawn on position 3. But alternatively, the reason I brought it up was because I think the Nullfire Blade will be a really good item for him this game, going up against both the Jerzai and a Monarch. And even like if he wants to solo jump onto the Sapphire, like let's say she's away from her team trying to set up ganks with the Shroud, you can pour it on him and purge the shield. So that's 280 health extra that he doesn't have to go through as well. So I think the Nullfire Blade is like a really, really good pickup this game. And I do hope that he's going to go for that at some point.
Still a bit of time before we're going to figure out what that ultimate direction is, as both teams are pretty content right now on much more passive game. Maybe Congours we could start seeing soon as well. I think actually New Generation is almost setting up as if they're going to do that. They're doing the Ancients here. And yeah, they are going to do Congour. Jerzai is pushing bottom lane meanwhile, so it doesn't want to make it too obvious. But there's going to be a Congour attempt. The Legion side not really in position to do it themselves. So it's going to be more of an advantage for New Generation, unless they don't commit to this. Which, never mind. They're not, they realize maybe it's going to take too long, so they're like, screw it. Let's go somewhere else.
And, you know, back to the Sandwraith. So, again, I hope he goes Hyper Crown. We haven't really been seeing him use, like, a lot of Mirage ultimates to gank this game. And the reason for that, I would say, is mostly due to their team composition. As a mid-hero, the Thunderbringer cannot really create pressure. It's mostly like, just like now, he's doing reactive ultimates to his teammates setting up the play somewhere else, and then he's just pressing R from across the map. So the only heroes in Legion that can really try to set up for Sandwraith to also do the same thing that TP's doing right now is the Cthulhu Fawn and maybe the Demented Shaman. Because ideally the Empath would just stay linked and near the Sandwraith so she can just jump in him. Like right now, she uses the As-1, but it's gonna wear off. So now he's actually gonna port somewhere. Going on the
Jerzai. Nope.
Yeah.
That's that does not feel good.
No. And that's like when you run a Sandwraith lineup, you would like to have more heroes in your team that are able to make plays and set up for you. So that way your job is really easy. You can just come in and clean up and get the last hits and get the kills and whatnot. But I would say due to their team comp being relatively passive, mostly due to their 2 support picks and the mid hero that they've chosen this game, it means for Sandwraith has to play a little bit more of a passive game, I would say, early on. And Shaman is getting walked down here by the Jerzai, but Charm wears off and he's not going to be able to pursue that kill.
I mean, yeah, look at the Jerzai though, the Frost of Skull. I love this, the kind of, like I said, the rework of sorts they did to this hero. A bit more the carry Zaya potential, certainly. And
you like how his passive now is based off of strength instead of just like damage. I think it's a pretty healthy change as well, because then it like incentivizes the Jerizaya to build into these items that like theoretically he should be wanting.
Yeah, more like tanky
Insanitary, Explosive Skull. Yeah, just tanky items in general. So you can play this like go in role. So I like it.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the Frost of Skull. Speaking of that, because that's one of the first items. I consider Jerizaya to be one of my more go-to heroes personally, and it's one of the items that came to mind. You know, and I actually tried a game with it too, and it felt pretty good. So I guess just to see the fact that, hey, guy in a tournament, the grand finals is doing it too. Awesome. Yeah, maybe I'm not that dumb, but
I remember like a month ago or something, you hopped in my stream real fast and you were like, Jerizaya, let's go. And
yeah,
like,
that's right.
I was like super farmed. Yeah, when you're like really farmed on Jerizaya, that hero feels really fun to play.
It does. All right. Well, I mean, he is pretty farmed. He's the great news for New Generation is that he's only third best on the team, because Apex and Sapphire are slightly ahead of him. So yeah, all three cores are doing fantastic for New Generation right now.
So you see how Apex has a Arcane Bomb picked up? I remember I talked about how he wants to apply the Burning Ember to his targets before he goes in. He can cast that from, what is it, much range? 1200 range, which is really far away. And then he can go in with Armageddon. But also, something to consider here is that he's going up against the Sandwraith. And what is like the biggest counter to Sandwraith in like the early to mid game? Having an Arcane Bomb. As soon as Sandwraith presses ultimate, if your whole team is grouped up like in an area, let's say like a Kong Pit or something, and the Sandwraith tries to come in with an ultimate, you can literally just Arcane Bomb the one area and all the illusions are gone. Sandwraith can no longer port in to the target he wants to jump on. It's a really, really good pickup to have the Arcane Bomb this game. Not only for like his own presence to initiate a team fight, but also to counter initiate against the Sandwraith wanting to jump in.
Man, Dimension Shaman has no clue how close he was to death right there. There was Team Smoke of sorts coming in. They just get right past the Dimension Shaman. They exposed him, but he was a little too fast. And they killed Kongor on the Radiant side of Hard to Communicate. So Kongor advantage will be going for them. That's got to at least feel pretty good, at least for the time being. But
for more power finished on the TB. He just ulted and it's already up in like 50 seconds again.
Oh, yeah. Yep,
and I don't think he even used the Grimoire because it has a 75-second cooldown. So he literally just pressed R for scouting purposes. I think even if you're going to do that, you still want to hit the Grimoire key. Maybe he forgot about it, but you know, that is 25% more damage when he hits R. So it is a lot.
You know, I read that last line of Thunderbringer's Ultimate the Lightning Storm, and I'm like, wait a second, cannot be cast. They nerfed the casting twice, but I realized that's for the Staff of the Master effect. Okay.
No, that's for Resto Stone.
Is it like literally for the ability in general?
So if you have a Resto Stone on Thunderbringer, you cannot Resto R instantly. There's going to be a cooldown on your second ultimate. Yeah, so that was...
What?
Is there going to be a catch here?
Alright, yeah, there is a big fight, so we'll talk about that more in a second. Bubble goes out, though. Look at the turn. Immediately, Soul's Blessing as well. The Crystallize, and oh, they thought they had a chance on HTC side, but little did they know they did not. Jerizaya, man, falling, actually, so they finally get one guy, but yeah, that response from the Hellborn team, the Crystallize, again, coming out. I thought it went out before, but either way, is going to be used right there.
Look where Apex is.
What the hell is Apex doing?
Oh yeah,
maybe deep.
Maybe monitor turned off. I don't know.
That was a little odd. I feel like he just got kind of caught out right there and stuck around for a little too long. But okay, well they killed Apex too, so that's honestly pretty big. But
was it a 3 for 2?
Yeah, it was a 3 for 2 in the end.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty bad, I would say, because they lost TB and Sandwraith. Ideally, you would want one of these two heroes to survive. So. Hellborn targeted the correct heroes, and they also lived on Sapphire. Even though they lost Jerizaya, they're going to be okay with that. As she's getting closer to either her Genjuro now, or maybe she wants to go Shrunken, I'm not sure. I would personally like to see more damage on the Sapphire, so I would go Genjuro here if it was me. he has a nullstone, so I wouldn't want to see both a nullstone and a shrunken like this early. And I think he'll be okay without the shrunken.
Yeah. Something else to talk about now too. Cthulhu Fawn, he got that staff of the master, and I believe he just got the upgraded staff.
That's actually big. We haven't really talked about how Sandwraith hits like a big power spike if somebody can staff him. Kind of forgot about that aspect, because when I was initially actually he should staff the empath, which he does. That's correct. Okay. Now the empath can permanently sit in the Sandwraith and then also give staff buff to Sandwraith, which is one of the really good benefits of running an empath with the Sandwraith as well. You get the double staff effect.
That's crazy.
But now the Sandwraith has a 2-second fear and a 15% slow for 4 seconds when he ports in an area. So that's pretty good if he can get that either on the Jerizai or the Sapphire. I think ideally you want to jump the Sapphire, but they could also look to just burn down the defensive supports first, because let's be real here, you're gonna have to go through them to also get to the frontline heroes.
Cthulhu Fawn, a little bit of a swing and a miss right there, going in, but he has a staff effect, so he can be feared if he's yet next to him, and we start seeing kicking in. Jerizai with the Soul's Blessing once again, and there's the Crystallize. Bit of a reset. What do you do? Armageddon is still ready for Apex. He's going to try to use it. Yeah, goes off right there. However, no kills just yet. So this is actually looking very good for HTC right now. What? That went so much better.
I don't know if you saw it, but Sandwraith was so close to dying, and the Shaman saved him so hard there. And then he also had the empath inside him. You can't forget that there's the heals coming in from empath as well. So
5 for nothing.
If they killed the Sandwraith there, that would have been huge, but he got saved and he was able to dish out damage. And also something to point out is that after the Crystallize wore off from Sapphire, she had her shard on cooldown for 10 seconds. That is where the majority of her damage output is coming from right now. Her raw right clicks are not really that threatening, so they, I think, overestimated like their turn potential. And in hindsight, they could have probably just looked to sleep and reset. So instead of resetting, they probably shouldn't have taken that fight post second half.
Yeah, I mean, and that's certainly a fight where this game is completely swung. The pendulum has gone the other direction. I mean, the lead is now looking fairly decent for the Legion side for HTC. You got a 3200 lead, and I think
Sandwraith has a Resto Stone, and we can't forget his staff upgraded too. So 2 ultimates now with Fear, with Hyper Crown damage as well. Oof, so he doesn't go the Nullfire Blade, but I mean, honestly, I have to reconsider my initial thoughts based on the fact that now he has the early staff given to him, because that is also really, really powerful. He can obviously not have to worry about purging all of these like buffs off the Hellborn side if he's able to just pour it on them and kill them before they even get to use them. I still think like a Nullfire Blade would be very, very good, but he may want to opt into like he could potentially go for like Shrunken Head or Sheepstick, just something that like utilizes the Resto Stone even better than a Nullfire Blade would. And that honestly wouldn't be that bad, because if he has Shrunken Head ×2, the Sapphire damage is like not going to really matter. It's magic damage coming from the Shard. Apex is dealing only magic damage right now as well with the Armageddon and Dreamcatchers and everything. And the Jerizai, like, yes, he can right click and slow with the Frostwolf Skull, but he's not going to like kill the Sandwraith fast enough to where Sandwraith can't do what he wants to do first. So I actually think he could go Shrunken or a Sheepstick here, however they want to play this. If they want to team fight, Shrunken Head's really good. If they want to try to do more of like the pick-offs, then the Sheepstick would be really, really valuable.
Oh, we'll see what direction they end up going in, as going to be resuming out of this pause here, hopefully shortly, of course. But yeah, I mean, like I said, after that fight, and I'm sure it feels the same way for HTC, feeling like they're really looking forward to getting to that game number 5 and what would be the final game of the series. Of course, they are to come through with a victory here, but definitely still work to be done.
We got a lot of games still left in game 4. I mean, this is not really a big lead, but I will say, like, when you go late game against TB Sandwraith, you're not in a good position already, because those heroes, I don't want to say like they're the kings of late game, but they're very, very hard to play against. Like when they get the Resto Stones, multiple TB ults, multiple Sandwraith ultis, It's really tiresome because you're only gonna have null stone or shrunkens on so many of your heroes, and the damage output is gonna inevitably be there, just hitting everyone. And it's not like hard to line up either, right? You just press your spells and the damage is gonna come through. So ease of access is always there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely still plenty of game left. Looks like obviously to not trying to ignore what's going on right here. Of course, everyone can really see it's apparently Empath's having trouble buying that Abyssal Skull. Not sure exactly what could be happening there, but hopefully he can get that sorted out, because understandable, that's an item that he's looking to complete. Feels like that'd be pretty good, of course, to have, and some added lifesteal for especially the Sandwraith take advantage of. But given the go ahead,
you're talking about Empath?
Yeah, Empath. That's what it looks like. Empath is having trouble.
I did notice the Hungry Spirit earlier. I forgot to comment on it, but yeah, the Abyssal Skull will be pretty nice, I would say, just to have like another aura in general. They're not really having that many team items, like overall on Legion. They do have an Astrolabe on the Demented Shaman, which is pretty nice. I think Cthulhu maybe will go Berry Riddle. I'm not sure if he wants to upgrade that and see put the majority of his investment into staffing the Sandwraith, which can't really disagree with that choice at all. But yeah, on the side of the Hellborn, we see a Soul's Bulwark on the Jeremiah, and then a Berry Riddle on the Apex, and a Gnomes on the Pearl. So I would say, in general, more like team-centered items across the board for Hellborn. So they're really sticking to that, like, we want to group up, we want to be as tanky as possible. We know we're against the TB and the Sandwraith, so we have to just like build as durable as we can. I think like the game plans are there, and they're itemizing very, very well across the board as well there. No Astrolabe though. No Astrolabe yet on any Hellborn hero, but as we approach 31 minutes now, might be a little bit too late to invest into that on one of the supports. They're not really having that much gold either. Only 160 GPM on the Pearl, the Monarch, and 225 on the Pearl.
Yeah, a little tougher to get that at this point of the game, but who knows? Okay, 3,600 gold on Ball Sauce. Saving up for something big.
This is something small, but I like that the Hellborn supports both have Grave Locket, and the Legion supports stopped with Orb of Zamos only, which I think it would really benefit Empath to have the Grave Locket, because he's the one who's going to be linked, or he's the one who should be linked to the Sandwraith, so that he can get all the items that scale to buff him up. And he's missing out on a lot of extra gold, I would say, because you get more gold when you upgrade into Locket overall per creep kill, and then also whenever he goes to stack, he gets bonus experience, which he's not really able to get that due to stopping at the orb here. So really, really small thing to point out, but generally, like in Pro League, you'll see the supports almost 100% of the time going for Grave Locket on both supports. Even if you get that like later into the match, like 10, 15 minutes, even sometimes 20 minutes. I would say the gold you spend to upgrade from Orb to Locket is always almost going to be worth it. Going from 300 investment to 750, it's really not that much more. Breaky, have you casted with Dutch? Have you had talks with Dutch about wind whistles before?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah.
You wanna count how many wind whistles are in this game?
What do we got? I'm looking.
There's
0. Oh,
there's one on Monarch, and we could technically, if I want to be technical, we could count 2 because Apex built a Dreamcatcher which needs a wind whistle build up.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's 8 heroes that don't have a wind whistle this game. Do you know how unhappy Dutch would be?
Devastated.
He would be
already left,
crying in tears, hands in his face, or face in his hands, so that backwards, and he would just be miserable. So poor Dutch. if he's watching this game, he's so sad right now. 8 out of 10 players without a wind whistle.
Have you ever had a bug where you can't buy from the shop?
You know, this actually happened to me not that long ago, and I'm not sure what causes it. If it's like you spam click the shop too much, or like just I actually don't. I actually have no idea what causes it, but I think like reconnecting fixed it or something, or I actually have no idea.
Oh, what did our production said something? What'd you say? Oh, you're trying, yeah.
Fix it. I would try reconnecting. Restart your PC. That fixes everything. Don't you know? It's the PC's fault, not the game. I have no idea. I would just restart. I mean,
it's just empath. Like whatever, dude.
He doesn't need items, right?
Just goes inside another hero, anyways.
Does his keyboard still work? Can he press R?
No, yeah, that is unfortunate, but hopefully, maybe after this pause fixed. But it's one of those. It's like, yeah, I mean, what can you really do? It's kind of.
I would definitely try to reconnect to the game.
He's tried multiple times from the looks of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's.
Well, you know, I was busy talking about wind whistles, so I had no idea.
Very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, wind whistles are good. What is it? 250 gold for it?
It's 200 gold for 15 movement speed.
200 gold, even, yeah.
Yeah, it's like. I mean, it's like a little mini boots.
That's pretty good, especially on like more supported heroes. But you got an inventory slot. Something to think about, Sapphire. Oh, he just bought something, by the way. What did Sapphire buy? I didn't notice. It's being delivered.
He sold power supply, which means he probably has shrunken. Yeah.
All right.
I did say that I was hoping he would go the Genjuro. I guess he's reacting more so to the fact that the Sandwraith has staff now, and he's gonna probably. I mean, so yes, he can still get ported on and feared when the no stun's broken, but a lot of the Sandwraith's damage is still coming from magic. The Hyper Crown procs are all magic, and the slow is magic, and his raw right clicks, if you look at Sandwraith as a whole, he's heading for 105 to 109, right? Like his right clicks are not what's killing you. It's the Hyper Crown procs and the ability of him to just keep doing damage from the fear and everything. Obviously, the empath will give him a little bit of a boost. Give him what is it, 55 right now, and then it'll be 75 damage at level 3. Which is honestly, like, that's a huge boost to what he's doing right now, if we look at just the number aspects.
Love to see it. We got the Team Smoke coming out after the Conqueror kill. But I also love to see the Abyssal Skull has been purchased by Empath. He can buy items again.
Oh, we can buy items.
So
that's good.
It's been fair. Apparently, like, after a little bit of time of game action, it just fixes itself potentially. So, cool. There you go. If that ever happens to you. Anyone else?
What did he do?
He just literally waited.
He just wait? Oh.
It's patience.
Okay.
Be patient. Be patient.
I hear you. All right, not you, Rick. Hey, I hear the guy in my ear.
Bottom lane, you got New Generations grouping up. Definitely setting up for a big team fight once again. They want to make a play here. They just got Conqueror on their side.
The tower's almost dead, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned that. So they'll probably look to barrier rattle the next wave. There it goes from the Apex, and then it actually does not live that long. So they're gonna force out the glyph. Jerzai is hitting the tower, taking a lot of damage. Oh my god, he dies.
Well, he pops those buzzing at the last second, but not really going to matter there. The shard is down, though. Sapphire doing what he can. Samwraith getting low, but not low enough. Sapphire dies first, and Samwraith will get on out before dying himself. Cthulhuphon's still chasing. I mean, you got to think that staff Cthulhuphon's doing so much work in the midst of these fights as well. Monarch is just simply going to get auto-attacked to death there, too. And another fight that just, it feels like New Generation kind of initiates and gets the jump, but in the end, it goes the way of HTC.
They got pretty much everything off. I'm looking like across the board. They casted all their spells. Crystallize wasn't used, but that's because Sapphire just melted. Probably was feared, like you said, by the Cthulhu font. I mean, we can't really feel that impact all the time as a spectator, but when you're playing the match, you definitely feel it as the opposition. And Sandwraith, I think, just used Resto to pour it in, right? On the Pearl? Yeah, okay.
Ace Pearl, yep.
Yeah, and now it's getting to a point where Sandwraith's getting to his core items. He's at the place in the match where he wants to be. I think he just right-clicked something. I missed it, so when the courier delivers it, we'll see. Shrunken Head. Okay, so he goes for the option that I was thinking he would do based on the chain of events from this match. I like it. I like the Shrunken a lot. Cthulhu finished his barrier, has 2,000 more gold saved up as well.
Oh, I was muted, my bad.
Oh, you're good. He could go... I actually don't know what he could go. Maybe Demonic or Frostfield play would be really good here. Yeah. Honestly, like, they're already kind of out-manpowering the Hellborn side at this point, so I would say just building something to further bulk himself or his teammates up would be really, really good. I mean, he could go for something like a Sheep or a Hellflower to follow up the Blink. He could also go Barbed Armor, return damage when they get feared to him. All of these things would make a lot of sense. But what he wants to do, I have no idea. Is there anything
Only
like...
he can choose.
Is there anything like you feel would be his like best option here, or not necessarily any?
I'm always a fan of like a Frostfield plate, honestly. We're talking about Cthulhu font, by the way, right?
Yeah, yep, Cthulhu.
Yeah, like a Frostfield plate where you kind of just go in. Obviously, he's just creating that chaos and mystify. It's just even another tool to do so. Slow everyone down, get in the back lines, and be a nuisance there. So, if I had to choose specifically that one, but I don't think there's a wrong answer, kind of deal, right?
Yeah, I think anything to like just enhance his teamfight presence will be really good. So there's a number of options he has.
Yeah, it's you can tell new generation that they're yet again kind of grouping up down here. I mean, they already killed that
also
Congo.
Afraid. Like they're also afraid to go by themselves because if you're farming alone, you always have to face the Sandwraith empath porting on you, and he's at the point now where he can solo kill pretty much anyone other than maybe the Sapphire reliably easily.
It's keeping the bottom lane pushed in is Jeremiah.
Well, they only smoke up 2 players, actually. That's interesting. The TB and the Shaman are smoked up. I don't really know what they can achieve by doing that, personally, but maybe they can, like, bait somehow, but I also don't think the Hellborn side will fall for like a Cthulhu font bait. That's just not the hero you want to try to go on ever. So if they take that bait, I would say that's their own mistake.
Yeah, it's well deserved. Genjiro just finished on Sapphire, by the way. So that's
really good. I think now his next item, if he can get to one more item slot, would have to be Rift Shards. Maybe Wingbow could be also okay here. But I think he just needs like a huge damage item now. I mean, maybe even Doombringer. I don't know if it's like too wild to suggest that, but I feel like he needs something to just like insta-kill something really fast or like turn the tide for his team.
Okay, here we go again. Yeah, he just jumps in the midst of it. Thunderbringer ultimate as well. Got Armageddon going off at the backline. Sandwraith just back. Here he is, frozen in place though, thanks to Sapphire. Eventually going to be wearing off though. Sapphire tried to, well, never mind. Sapphire is just going to hold his ground actually, but he now needs to run. They killed him at the Shaman, but that's it. It's just another 1-5 for HTC. I keep going back to you. This Cthulhu font is clearly just causing so much chaos in these fights, and then the follow-up happens, and there is a vote to concede. I haven't done it just yet, but maybe stocking it over still. But yeah, that's 3 fights in a row now that just clearly are favoring HTC right now. And it's hard to see that changing at this point.
Yeah, so Hellborn's whole idea here is they need to hold their ground. They have all these heals and everything, and they're just unable to do that at this point. There's too much teamfight annoyance from the Cthulhu font, the Sandwraith illusions with Resto Stone Staff, and the TB just hitting 4 out of 5 players if the Sapphire still has the Nullstone up. It's too much for them to deal with at this point. And Yeah, I mean, you know that going into the game when you face a TB Sandwraith, it's not something like you probably face often nowadays, but you should still understand like we're on a timing. We cannot let the game get to a certain point. Otherwise, we've missed our timing. And if we try to go late game against a TB and a Sandwraith, that's almost never going to work out because mostly because your supporting backline cast just gets taken out too quickly, and then you're basically left alone like 2 or 3 versus 5, like too early into a team fight. So.